Let me tell you how it all started. 2 months ago, my life felt pretty normal. I was Natalie, a 29-year-old marketing coordinator living in a cramped Los Angeles apartment with my boyfriend Jake. We'd been together for 3 years, and I thought we were building something real together. Jake worked in real estate development and always had these big dreams about flipping luxury properties. He'd spend hours scrolling through million-dollar listings, talking about how someday we'd live in one of those mansions overlooking the ocean. "Look at this one, Em," he'd say, showing me another Malibu estate on his phone. "Glass walls, infinity pool, private beach access. This is what I'm working toward." I'd smile and nod, thinking it was sweet how he dreamed big. Meanwhile, I was just trying to make rent on our tiny place in Silver Lake. Then my great-aunt Vivian died. I barely knew her. She was my grandmother's sister who lived like a hermit up in Northern California. I hadn't seen her since I was maybe 10 years old at some family reunion. But apparently, she remembered me. What I didn't know at the time was that Jake had been working an angle for over 2 years. The first hint something was wrong came when Jake started acting different. It started with Jake's sudden interest in my family history back in early 2022. He'd ask innocent questions about my relatives, especially the ones who lived alone. "Don't you worry about your great-aunt up north?" he'd say. "Maybe we should visit her sometime." I thought it was sweet that he cared about my family. Then came the phone calls. Jake would step outside to take them, coming back with this weird energy, excited but secretive. When I'd ask who called, he'd just say work stuff and change the subject. Then came the overnight trips. "Big client meeting in San Diego," he'd say, grabbing his overnight bag. "Might need to stay the weekend to seal the deal." "Can I come?" I asked once. "We could make it romantic." His face went white. No, it's strictly business. You'd be bored." I should have trusted my gut right then, but I wanted to believe him. The breaking point came on a Tuesday night in March. Jake was in the shower, and his phone kept buzzing on the nightstand. I glanced over and saw a text preview that made my stomach drop. "Can't wait for this weekend at the beach house. The sunset view from the bedroom is going to be incredible." The name on the screen was Valerie. My hands started shaking as I picked up his phone. The messages went back months. Photos of champagne glasses clinking. Selfies on what looked like a luxury balcony. Her in a bikini by an infinity pool that looked exactly like the ones Jake always showed me in his someday fantasies. Last night was perfect. I love having our own private paradise. The neighbors can't see anything from this angle. 3 years and your girlfriend still has no idea about this place? 3 years. They've been doing this our entire relationship. I scrolled through dozens of messages. She knew about me. She knew my name. They'd laugh about how clueless I was, how I believed his work trip's story. But the message that destroyed me was from just 2 weeks ago. "When are you finally going to dump the dead weight? This house is wasted on secret weekends. I want to live here with you full-time." Jake's response: "Soon, babe. Just need to figure out the timing. Natalie's been clingy lately." I couldn't breathe. My chest felt like someone was standing on it. 3 years of my life. 3 years of planning a future with someone who saw me as dead weight. When Jake came out of the bathroom, I was sitting on the bed with his phone in my hands. "Natalie, I can explain." "Explain what?" My voice came out as a whisper. "Explain Valerie? Explain the beach house? Explain how I'm dead weight that you're planning to dump?" His face went through about 5 different expressions before landing on defensive anger. "You went through my phone? That's a violation of privacy?" "Privacy?" I stood up, the phone still in my shaking hands. "You want to talk about violation? You've been cheating on me for 3 years. 3 years, Jake." "It's not what you think." "It's exactly what I think." The tears were coming now, hot and angry. "You have a whole second relationship, a beach house. She wants to move in with you." Jake ran his hands through his wet hair. For a second, I thought he might actually apologize. Instead, he crossed his arms and looked at me like I was being unreasonable. "Look, Natalie, we both know this relationship has run its course. We want different things. Valerie and I, we connect on a different level." "Different level?" My voice cracked. "Like financial level? Is that what this is about?" He shrugged. "She understands ambition. She appreciates the finer things. You're always worried about splitting grocery bills." That's when something inside me snapped. The tears stopped. A cold fury settled in my chest. "Get out," I said quietly. "What?" "Get out, now." and that's when I knew I had to make him pay for this. For the first week after Jake left, I tried to be the bigger person. I really did. I called my best friend Luna, crying into the phone about how 3 years had been a lie. She came over with wine and tissues and told me Jake was an idiot who didn't deserve me. "You're going to find someone so much better," she kept saying. "Someone who sees how amazing you are." I wanted to believe her. I tried to focus on healing, on moving forward. I even started looking at studio apartments I could afford on my own. But then Luna showed me Jake's Instagram. He'd already made it official. Photos of him and Valerie at some fancy restaurant in Beverly Hills. Her ring finger prominently displayed with what looked like a very expensive promise ring. The caption read, "Finally found my forever person." The comments were full of congratulations from our mutual friends, people we'd hung out with as a couple for years. Not one person asked about me. That's when I decided to try talking to him one more time. I texted asking if we could meet to talk about getting my stuff back. He agreed to meet at a coffee shop in West Hollywood. Jake showed up looking happy, relaxed in a way I'd never seen him. He was wearing a new watch and had gotten an expensive haircut. "You look good, Em," he said, like we were old friends catching up. "I want to understand why," I said. 3 years, Jake. Was any of it real?" He sighed like I was being dramatic. "Of course it was real, but people grow apart. I outgrew what we had." "Outgrew?" "I'm at a different place in my life now. Valerie gets that. She matches my energy." "Your energy or her bank account?" His jaw tightened. "Don't be bitter, Natalie. It's not attractive." That's when he told me the part that made my blood boil. Valerie's family has connections, real estate connections. Her dad's helping me get into commercial development. This is my chance to actually make something of myself instead of just dreaming about it. He'd traded me in for a networking opportunity. I left that coffee shop knowing the high road wasn't going to cut it. I knew I had to do this my way. The call from the lawyer came 2 days after my disaster coffee meeting with Jake. "Miss Thompson, this is Robert Tate from Hartwell and Associates. I'm handling the estate of your great-aunt Vivian Morrison. Could you come in to discuss your inheritance?" I almost laughed. Aunt Vivian lived in a tiny cottage and drove a car from the 90s. I figured maybe she'd left me her collection of ceramic cats or something. "Sure," I said. "How much are we talking about here? A few hundred? 1,000? There was a pause. "Miss Thompson, I think it would be better if we discussed this in person. Can you be here tomorrow at 2 p.m.? The law office was in Century City, all glass and marble. Way fancier than I expected for handling a hermit's estate. Robert Tate was a serious man in his 50s who kept adjusting his glasses like he couldn't believe what he was about to tell me. "Your great-aunt was a unique woman," he began, sliding a thick folder across his desk. "She lived very simply, but she was quite wealthy." I opened the folder and nearly fell off my chair. Property deeds, investment portfolios, bank statements showing millions of dollars. "I don't understand," I whispered. "Your aunt inherited from her husband when he died in 1987. He'd made some very smart investments in Silicon Valley in the early days. She never touched the money, just let it grow. She lived off her pension and Social Security." My hands were shaking as I flipped through documents. "How much?" "The total estate value is approximately $4.2 million. The main asset is a property in Malibu she purchased in 1988. Current estimated value is $2.8 million. Malibu. My heart started pounding. "What's the address?" He read it off, and I had to grip the arms of my chair. I knew that address. I'd seen it in Jake's phone photos. The infinity pool, the glass walls, the sunset view. My cheating ex-boyfriend had been using my inherited beach house for his affair. "There's more," the lawyer continued. "She left specific instructions. The property has been maintained by a property management company. She was very particular about who could access it over the years." "Who has access?" "Just the maintenance staff and—" He consulted his notes. "A Jake Williams? He's been listed as having a key since early 2022. Something about him being recommended as a trusted family friend for property consultation?" The room started spinning. Jake had been playing the long game for over 2 years. When did she add his name? Let me see. The records show he first contacted our office in January 2022, claiming to be researching your family history for a surprise proposal. He said he wanted to understand your family's real estate holdings to plan your future together. I thought back to early 2022. That's when Jake had suddenly become interested in my family history. When he started asking innocent questions about my relatives. Mr. Tate, I need to ask you something. How exactly did Jake convince my aunt to give him access? He looked uncomfortable. The records show he visited her multiple times over the past 2 years, bringing flowers and groceries. Your aunt was very isolated, and she seemed touched that her great-niece's boyfriend cared enough to check on family property. He told her he was planning to propose and wanted to make sure you knew about all your family assets. My best interests. Jake had spent over 2 years manipulating a lonely old woman, all while planning to steal what was rightfully mine. There's one more thing, the lawyer said. The property management company has security cameras. They've been recording for years as part of the insurance requirements. Security cameras. I felt a slow smile spread across my face. I'd like those recordings, I said. All of them, especially everything from 2022 onward. Oh, and Mr. Tate, I need to handle all estate matters privately. No announcements, no notifications to anyone. Can you ensure complete confidentiality? Of course, Miss Thompson, that's standard procedure. Now I finally had the power to end this. I spent the next week watching footage that made me sick to my stomach and planning revenge that made me feel alive again. The security cameras had captured everything. Starting from early 2022, I watched Jake arriving alone, walking around the property with a measuring tape, taking photos of every room like he was already planning renovations. The earliest footage showed Jake's first solo visits, him acting like he owned the place, even then, making phone calls from the deck about securing the asset and maintaining access until the inheritance transfers. Then later, Jake and Valerie arriving for romantic weekends, them using my future pool, drinking champagne on my future deck, making out in my future hot tub. But the real goldmine was the audio from the cameras near the front door. In one video from early 2023, over a year ago, I watched Valerie pointing at the view and saying, "When we get married, this will be the perfect place to start our family." Jake's response, "It's going to be ours soon enough. I've been working on this for over a year already. Natalie has no idea what she's about to inherit. Once she gets the house, we'll get engaged, I'll get community property rights, and then..." He made a cutting gesture across his throat. "Divorce settlement. I'll get half of everything." I had to pause the video and take deep breaths. He'd been planning to marry me for my inheritance for almost our entire relationship. There was more. Hours of them talking about their future plans for Natalie's house, how they'd renovate it, which rooms would be theirs. Valerie even mentioned which of my things she wanted to keep and which she'd throw away. "Her art is so basic," Valerie laughed in one clip. "I can't wait to redecorate with some actual taste." But the video that sealed Jake's fate was from 2 months ago. He was on the phone with someone, walking around the property like he owned it. "Yeah, I've got inside access to a Malibu estate that's going to be available soon," he was saying. "The old lady is getting pretty frail and my girlfriend's set to inherit when the time comes. She doesn't know the value yet. I'm thinking we can get her to sign a partnership agreement before she realizes what she's got. Then we flip it and split the profits." He was planning to steal my inheritance while my aunt was still alive, already counting on her death. That's when I called Luna. "I need your help with something," I told her, "and I need you to not ask questions until I'm done explaining." Luna worked in social media marketing and had connections everywhere. More importantly, she was petty enough to appreciate what I was planning. "You want to do what?" she said after I laid out my plan. "I want to throw a party, a housewarming party for my new Malibu estate, and I want to invite everyone Jake and Valerie know." "Natalie, that's evil?" "Yeah. But so is manipulating a dying old woman and planning to marry someone just to steal their inheritance." Luna was quiet for a moment. Then she started laughing. "Okay, I'm in. But we're doing this right. Full social media coverage, professional photographers, the works." Over the next few days, we planned the event. Luna reached out to local influencers, promising an exclusive Malibu house party. I hired a catering company and a DJ. I even got professional photographers to document everything. But first, I had to make sure Jake had no idea what was coming. I'd been handling all of Aunt Vivian's estate matters privately. No obituary in the papers, no social media posts about her passing. As far as Jake knew, she was still alive in her little cottage up north. The guest list was key. Everyone Jake worked with. All of Valerie's friends from her social media, our mutual friends who'd been congratulating them on Instagram. I sent Jake a text. "Hey, I know things ended badly, but I'm having a small gathering at my new place this Saturday. Would love for you and Valerie to come. I think we should try to be friends. His response came back in minutes. Your new place? That's exciting. Where did you move to? It's a bit hard to find and parking is tricky. How about I send a car to pick you both up? My treat. Think of it as a peace offering. That's really thoughtful, Em. Yeah, that would be great. Perfect. He thought I was being generous. Really, I was making sure they walked into my trap with no way to escape. The final touch was the timing. I scheduled the party for sunset, when the Malibu light would be perfect for photos, when everyone would see exactly how stunning this property was. This would change everything. Saturday evening, I stood on the deck of my Malibu estate watching the black SUV pull up the private driveway. The photographers were positioned perfectly. Luna was managing the social media live stream. Everything was in place. The SUV stopped, and I watched Jake and Valerie step out, looking around in confusion. They'd clearly been expecting to arrive at some modest apartment, not a multi-million-dollar estate. From the floor-to-ceiling windows, I could see the exact moment recognition hit. Jake's face went from confused to shocked to calculating in about 3 seconds. Valerie grabbed his arm, her mouth moving rapidly. But instead of panic, I saw Jake straighten up, adjust his shirt, and nod firmly at whatever he was telling her. He was going into damage control mode. This was unexpected, but he thought he could work with it. I met them at the front door, wearing a flowing white dress and the biggest smile I could manage. Jake, Valerie, I'm so glad you could make it, I said, voice dripping with sweetness. Welcome to my new home. Jake's smile was perfectly calibrated, surprised but supportive. Em, this is incredible. How did you... this place is amazing. I'm so happy for you. Valerie jumped in with practiced enthusiasm. Natalie, you have to tell us everything. This is like something out of a magazine. They were already working their angle. Supportive ex-boyfriend, excited to reconnect. Friendly new girlfriend, no threat to anyone. It's actually my great-aunt's place, I said, watching their faces carefully. I inherited it when she passed away recently. Jake's face went carefully neutral, but I caught the flash of panic in his eyes. Oh, wow, I'm so sorry for your loss. Your great-aunt Vivian, right? From up north? He was fishing, trying to figure out how much I knew. Yeah, it's been a whirlwind. I had no idea she even owned property down here. Jake's smile was strained now. That's incredible. What a surprise inheritance. Oh, but everyone's here to meet you both. Valerie, I've heard so much about you. I led them through the party, introducing them to everyone as my ex-boyfriend Jake and his new girlfriend. The photographers were snapping away, capturing Valerie's increasingly nervous energy and Jake's forced confidence. The infinity pool is my favorite part, I announced to the group, leading everyone out to the deck. I'm told the sunset view from here is just incredible. Valerie's smile faltered slightly, but Jake squeezed her hand reassuringly. Actually, I continued, I have something fun to share with everyone. I found the most interesting videos while going through the property management files. Jake's entire body went rigid. Natalie, maybe we should... I nodded to Luna, who connected her laptop to the outdoor speaker system. It turns out this house has had some secret visitors over the past few years. The first video started playing on the big outdoor screen we'd set up. Crystal clear footage from 2022 of Jake arriving alone, walking around with a measuring tape and taking photos like he was already planning renovations. The party went dead silent. Oh, look, there's more, I said cheerfully as the next clip began. Jake on the phone from 2023, clearly audible. I've been working on this for over a year already. Natalie has no idea what she's about to inherit. Jake tried to step toward the laptop, but Luna's boyfriend Robbie stepped in his way. You can't show that, Valerie shrieked. That's private property. You're absolutely right, I said. It is private property, my private property, which you've both been using for over 2 years while planning to steal it from me. The crowd was riveted now. Phones were out, recording everything. The next video was the one from 2 months ago. Jake celebrating my aunt's death. His voice carried clearly over the speaker system. The old lady finally died last month, so we're in the final stages now. My girlfriend's inheriting it, but she doesn't know its value. Someone in the crowd gasped. I think it was Jake's boss. But wait, there's more, I said like I was hosting a game show. This next one is my personal favorite. The video of Valerie discussing their future marriage and Jake making the throat-cutting gesture played in high definition. His words echoed across the deck. Once she gets the house, we'll get engaged. I'll get community property rights and then divorce settlement. I'll get half of everything." The silence was deafening. Valerie started crying, but not the pretty kind. Big, ugly sobs that ruined her makeup. "Jake, you said the cameras were just for security. You said they didn't record audio." "Shut up!" Jake snapped at her, then whirled on me. "You vindictive—" "Careful," I interrupted. "We're live streaming this to 3 different social media platforms." And we were. Luna had been broadcasting the whole thing. The comments were going crazy. Jake's face went white as he realized the scope of what was happening. "Natalie, please. You don't understand. I was trying to protect your interests. I was making sure the property was maintained." "Protect my interests? By manipulating my dying aunt for 2 years? By planning to steal my inheritance while she was still alive? By already discussing partnership agreements to defraud me?" The crowd gasped. Jake's carefully constructed cover story crumbled in real time. You knew this whole time," he whispered. "I inherited everything, Jake. The house, the money, the security footage, and the knowledge of exactly what kind of person you really are." By now, the entire party was recording. Jake's colleagues, Valerie's friends, random influencers Luna had invited. Everyone was getting this on video. "You want to know the best part?" I continued. "I've already filed a police report for trespassing and elder abuse. The district attorney is very interested in your multi-year fraud scheme." That's when Jake completely lost it. "You think you're so smart?" he screamed. "You think you deserve this? I put in the work. I spent 2 years building a relationship with that old bat. I earned this more than you did." "And yet," I said calmly, "I'm the one who owns it." Valerie was hyperventilating now. "I can't. This was supposed to be foolproof. Everyone's staring." The crowd was definitely staring, and filming, and posting. Jake grabbed Valerie's hand. "We're leaving." "Good idea," I called after them as they stumbled toward the driveway. "Don't forget, you're both banned from this property permanently. Again." As their car disappeared down the driveway, the party erupted in cheers and applause, but honestly, watching them drive away in humiliation was just the beginning. The videos went viral within hours. Luna's live stream had been shared thousands of times. TikTok was full of clips with captions like "cheating boyfriend gets destroyed" and "girl boss revenge at its finest." The hashtag #Malibu revenge was trending, but the real consequences came in the following weeks. Jake's boss called him Monday morning. Apparently, several clients had seen the videos and were questioning whether they wanted to work with someone who admitted on camera to planning fraud. Jake was asked to resign by Wednesday. Valerie fared even worse. Her family's country club membership got suspended after the trespassing footage made its way to the board of directors. Turns out her trust fund came with a morality clause that her grandmother had insisted on decades ago. Breaking and entering, even onto someone else's property, was grounds for review. The business partner Jake had mentioned in the recorded phone call? He turned out to be Valerie's cousin, who was apparently in on the scheme to defraud me. When the police investigation expanded, they found emails discussing how to manipulate me into signing over property rights. Both Jake and Valerie were charged with conspiracy to commit fraud, elder abuse, and criminal trespassing. The charges were serious enough that Valerie's family lawyer recommended she take a plea deal. But the social media fallout was the gift that kept on giving. Someone had edited together all the best moments from the party videos and set it to dramatic music. It had over 2 million views. The comments were savage. "Imagine planning someone's financial destruction and then crying when you get caught." The audacity of calling someone dead weight while literally plotting to steal their house. Valerie talking about redecorating with actual taste while trespassing is sending me. He really said he earned the house more than the actual heir because he manipulated a dying old woman. The audacity. Jake tried to do damage control by posting a long Instagram story about how the videos were taken out of context and how I was manipulating the narrative. It backfired spectacularly. People started digging through his old posts, finding photos he'd taken at my house and tagged as private client meetings. Screenshots of him bragging about his connections and exclusive property access. His reputation in real estate was finished. Valerie tried a different approach. She went full victim mode, posting tearful videos about how she was just in love and how I was cruel and vindictive. The internet wasn't buying it. Someone had found her old social media posts where she'd bragged about her relationship with Jake and made snide remarks about his pathetic ex who doesn't know he's too good for her. Her modeling career, which had been struggling anyway, completely dried up after brands saw the trespassing footage. But the most satisfying consequence came 6 weeks later. I was at the grocery store when I spotted them, Jake and Valerie, having what looked like a very tense conversation in the cereal aisle. They looked rough. Jake had stubble and was wearing a wrinkled t-shirt. Valerie's hair was in a messy bun and she wasn't wearing makeup. They were arguing about money. From what I could overhear, Valerie's trust fund had been frozen pending the legal proceedings, and Jake couldn't find work anywhere in Los Angeles real estate. "This is all your fault," Valerie was hissing. "You said she was stupid. You said she'd never figure it out." "How was I supposed to know she'd keep the aunt's death secret?" Jake shot back. "And you're the one who wanted to get married there." They were so absorbed in their fight that they didn't notice me until I was standing right next to them. "Oh, hi," I said brightly. "How's apartment hunting going?" They both froze. "I heard through mutual friends that you guys had to move back in with Valerie's parents. That must be cozy." Valerie's face turned red. "You destroyed our lives." "Actually," I said, examining a box of granola, "you destroyed your own lives. I just provided the venue." Jake stepped closer, trying to intimidate me. "You think you're untouchable now? This isn't over." I smiled and pulled out my phone. "Are you threatening me? Because I'm recording, and I think your parole officer might be interested in that?" He backed away immediately. "Enjoy shopping in the generic cereal section," I said sweetly. "I'm heading back to Malibu for a sunset swim." As I walked away, I heard Valerie start crying again. 3 months later, I was sitting on my deck with Luna, watching the sunset over the Pacific. The legal cases had been settled. Jake and Valerie both pled guilty to reduced charges and were ordered to pay restitution and do community service. "Do you ever feel bad about it?" Luna asked. I thought about it for a moment. About 3 years of lies. About Jake's plan to marry me just to steal my inheritance. About Valerie laughing at my basic taste while trespassing in my house. "No," I said finally. "They made their choices. I just made sure everyone got to see the consequences." My phone buzzed with a notification. Another brand wanted to sponsor a post about living your best life in Malibu. Jake had been right about one thing. This house was perfect for making something of yourself. I just made sure I was the only one who got to enjoy it. Sometimes the best revenge isn't getting mad. Sometimes it's getting a $2.8 million mansion and watching your cheating ex realize he played himself. And sometimes, karma comes with security cameras and a live audience. But before you go, let me know what you think in the comments. Was Jake's 2-year manipulation scheme genius or just pure evil? And did I handle this like a boss, or should I have taken the high road? Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. Because trust me, you don't want to miss what happens when cheaters think they're smarter than they actually are.